Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here, and it's time to make you another drink. This week's drink is a shot, and it is called the Twin Sisters, and it is the featured drink for this week's episode. So we're going to start with a shaker with ice. Since it's a shot, I'm going to use my tiny shaker. To that, we're going to add 1/2 ounce light rum. 1/2 ounce. Next, spiced rum. Another 1/2 ounce. Coca-Cola, or your cola beverage of choice. We're just going to add a dash and Rose's lime juice. Again, another dash. Might have been more in a dash. Then we shake. Take our shot glass. We strain our drink in there. There you have it, boys and girls. The Twin Sisters. Pretty good. Maybe a little bit too much lime. I'll do better the next time. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. See ya.
Double the pleasure, double the fun. It's all about the twins in this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast. Twins of evil. One twin is pure and good. One twin is feisty and evil. There's no in between with these ladies. I wonder what it could mean that Greg found the evil twin so much more entertaining and interesting than the angelic one. It's nothing, I'm sure. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hey, I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different yet highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm okay.
Aw.
I don't have much vacation left.
Well, this movie should bring a smile to your face.
I got to come home this weekend, Karen.
But I've missed you so much. Did you believe me? Was that good? Or does it need work?
A little work, Karen. Needs a little work.
All right. I'll do better next time.
All right, Karen. I believe this film was my choice. Was it not?
It was. You want to tell everybody what you chose?
Film I have chosen is a Hammer film from 1971
called Twins of Evil. Not evil.
No,
evil.
I noticed that. Why did you choose this evil film?
Well, Karen, this episode will be out July 26th, I believe. And our two twins that star in this film, their birthday was July 22nd.
Oh, excellent. So they are actual twins. It's not one actress playing both parts. Didn't look like it, but
it is not. That's what makes them special, Karen.
Amongst other things.
The Collinson twins. Mary and Madeleine. I have a cocktail as well, Karen.
Excellent. What's that?
Well, it's more, maybe it's not a cocktail. It's a drink.
It is a drink. It is a drink.
It is a drink. It is a shot called the Twin Sisters.
Perfectly appropriate. Why don't you tell us how to make it?
You're going to need 1/2 ounce of light rum, 1/2 ounce of spiced rum, dash of Coke or your cola beverage of choice, and a dash of Rose's lime juice or just regular lime juice from the plastic lime.
I used regular lime juice, but real lime juice.
Okay.
And I used way more than a splash of Coke.
I use more than a splash of both. It's hard to do. I mean, what's a splash, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we looked it up, but it's like a splash is like 1/5 of a teaspoon, I think. Or maybe that's a dash. I don't know. Whichever. But
so
anyway,
what do you do with these ingredients?
You pour all those ingredients into a shaker with ice, shake, and then strain into a shot glass.
So did you do that?
I did, Karen.
See, I put my Coke in the shot glass first and shook everything else because I had an M&M incident.
It did want to fly out, open up on me.
It gets very frothy, but maybe it's supposed to this instant.
I have a small shaker, Karen. So that's what I use.
Are you sure you want to tell everyone that? I mean, I'm not sure I'd let that slip out, but go ahead.
I have a large and a small, Karen, depending on, what they're being used for.
It's not about size. It's how you use it. So let's just move on.
So I used my small shaker because, we're doing a shot. It's not much in it. And it still wanted to and that may be why. Maybe if I use my large, regular, pint size, whatever shaker, there wouldn't have been enough Coke in there probably to make it.
Probably. I just poured the Coke in first and then shook everything else and poured it on top.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad.
No, it's good.
All right. My first one, I think, had a little bit too lime juice.
Yeah, I think I went a little overboard with the lime juice.
So I made a couple more, just to practice.
Well, you have to do what you have to do, Greg. Someone's got to take a hit for the team, and if it's got to be you stepped up to the challenge.
Okay, Karen, should we give our friends and listeners time to make their own?
Of course.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Hi, Karen. Might you have a brief synopsis for us?
I do.
Go on. Tell me a story.
Set during the 17th century in Styria, identical twin sisters Maria and Frieda moved from Venice to Karnstein in Central Europe to live with their uncle Gustav after becoming recently orphaned. Gustav is a stern Puritan and leader of the fanatical witch-hunting Brotherhood.
Thank you, Karen, for that brief synopsis.
It's missing a couple details, I think. But I looked it up. Styria is a real place. It's a state in the southeast of Austria, and it's the second largest state of Austria after Lower Austria. So it's a real place.
Okay, awesome. Learned something already, Karen. All right, Karen, are we ready to get into it?
Have you seen this before?
I have not.
And I assume you watched it on Amazon.
I did.
As did I.
So the first thing we see is rated R, Karen. Violence, alcohol use, foul language, and sexual content.
All of your favorites.
Yeah, except nudity. I like nudity too, but I like nudity and sexual content, Karen.
Separate.
I like them both.
And we see your favorite man banging a gong, Karen.
The sweaty guy in a loincloth bangs the gong. I do enjoy that. Not going to lie.
And we have credits, very short credits.
Yes.
Then we see Puritans riding through the woods. I wrote, Peter Cushing looks like he's on a witch hunt. They grab a girl out of a cottage, tie her up and burn her. And they pray as they burn the witch. Then we have the rest of the credits.
Hold on. Let me catch up to you here. I mean, she begs for her life.
Well, yeah, as they do.
And then they tie her to a tree in the middle of the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Their favorite witch burning tree that apparently never burns down.
Correct.
Because they use it over and over. But it's a little risky, I think, to burn people at the stake on a tree in the forest because you're surrounded by flammable materials.
Could be a little risky. That's a risk they're willing to take, Karen.
They do pray. How do
to
you know
save her soul?
How do you know they're Puritans, Greg?
Because they look like Puritans, Karen.
Well, why?
You know, it's like obscenity. I can't describe it, but I know what it is when I see it.
Well, I wanted you to say because they're wearing all black in their Puritan uniforms. But there is a myth that Puritans always dressed in somber black.
Yeah. Why you say it's a myth, Karen?
With a complete lack of ornamentation. In reality, black dye was very expensive in the 16th and 17th centuries and would have only been worn for formal occasions or during church. It is also a myth that Puritans would not wear clothing that was brightly colored or embellished with lace and other trimmings. Puritan clergy were university educated and dressed to reflect their station in life. They wore black to show that they were of a high social rank, because black fabric was the most expensive at the time. So being able to dress in it at all times meant that the individual had status and money.
Okay.
So I just wanted to know if the uniform.
So what do you think they wore like earth tones or something?
They could wear whatever they want, it sounds like.
But they probably didn't have black because it was expensive.
Black was expensive, so the clergy wore it.
Oh, yeah. And I bet these guys seem like they're not peasants, Karen. I don't know what the hell they do, but they're not peasants. Brotherhood.
I agree. And they probably are clergy, but I just thought it was interesting.
Credits finish and we see twins riding in a coach.
They do show the woman burning in the fire, which is...
Well, there's fire in the foreground and she's in the background.
Well, yes. Okay. But they're burning.
And it takes a long time because there's lots of credits.
Yes. So she does have to writhe for quite a while.
So then we see the twins in a coach traveling with another couple. And they explain that they are traveling from Venice. And they've never been here before. When they see the castle of Count Karnstein on the hill.
Sorry, when they roll up into town, I don't know if you noticed, but in the background, did you see the boys fighting? They're
in the mud?
Probably. Yeah. And then the woman throws water on them.
Yeah.
To get them to separate. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, the twins arrive in town, and I wrote the men folk seem very interested.
Yes, they do. All of the men folk. They're happy to see the twins, literally. The sets of twins.
And they are picked up by their aunt. They call her Caddy, right? Caddy?
No, I said Kathy, but it might be Caddy.
It's Caddy. Katy. Is
That's
the character's
Katie.
name. I know, but they call her Caddy.
All right.
I don't know. It's weird.
Well, if I say Kathy, correct me, because I thought it was Kathy.
And their aunt wants them to dress more conservative for their uncle. He's out hunting witches, so he ain't home yet.
He's very religious, she says, and she says you should still be wearing black. And the girls say that they did wear black for 2 months, but
I didn't get that at first.
That's their standard. But yes, but
they're mourning. They've been mourning for.
Yes, they should have worn it longer out of respect. And you can tell right away that the sisters have different personalities. They're Frieda and Maria. And Frieda does not give a fuck.
She does
about
not.
Anything. And Maria's the good girl.
Frieda's very open to all the world can offer her.
Exactly.
She's a free spirit.
And Maria's a rule follower.
And I have something to talk about that later. So So as they are going upstairs to change, their uncle walks in, and he is appalled at their fancy dress and
At their finery. Plumage, he calls it.
bosoms, I guess. I don't know. Busting out of there.
He says, "Do you not know the fourth commandment?" And Frieda, God love her, says, "Which one is that?"
Yes, honor thy father and mother, right?
Yes. And then Maria tries to cover it up. It says, we don't mean to offend. She's always helping out her sister in social situations, you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
But they go up to their room.
And we learn apparently their parents have recently passed away. Because he says, your parents are not, bodies aren't cold yet. Whatever. Then we see the Brotherhood having a meeting, Karen. I wrote satanic panic, talking about all the devil worshippers.
Well, and there's been the death of 2 young men in the past 10 days. And they've been bearing the mark of the devil.
Yeah, whatever that is. Maybe the bite.
Maybe.
Well, there's no vampires yet, so it couldn't be. But basically they say to save them, we have to burn them and send their souls to God or whatever.
Yeah, so apparently, according to Gustav,
who's the uncle?
Yes, and the leader of the Brotherhood, it looks like.
Peter Cushing.
Yes, who looks very old in this movie, I thought. He says that by burning these women, he's purifying their souls and they'll go to heaven. Like he thinks he's doing a good thing by doing this. And he's kind of rousing the troops. God is calling on them to stamp out the evil, find the devil worshipers, and purify their spirits so that they'll find the Lord. And that's why they're burning them. And everybody's all riled up. Yay. And then, of course, some guy goes, I know one.
Yes, Karen. Apparently, there's a woman who lives alone in a cottage in the woods, and she refuses to take a husband. She must be in league with Lucifer, Karen.
Exactly. Because why else would she be in a cottage alone in the woods, which sounds perfect to me.
I know, right?
So when this guy brings this woman in the cottage up, Gustav considers it. He looks like he's thinking about it for about 10 seconds. And then he grabs his gloves and the mob mentality begins.
Then we cut to back at the Gustav's house. And the twins are in bed, Karen. They've been put to bed at 8:00 in their sheer nightgowns.
Their obligatory sheer nightgowns, yes.
Frieda doesn't like it, and she plans to run away. She doesn't know how yet, but she's going to find a way, Karen.
Yeah, she's out of there.
Then the Brotherhood arrive at the cottage where the girl's living alone, supposedly.
Did you notice there's some Froggy's fog and then a broom outside?
I was there. I didn't notice the broom.
And
but
then
Peter
Gustav, he just
peeps. He peeps inside first.
He does peep first, yes.
As she's blowing out the candles. Then he just busts in, and there's a man and woman in there kissy facing. And we learn quickly that the man is Count Karnstein. He tells Gustav to get out as the girl laughs.
Well, as he should. You can't just bust into someone's home.
Apparently the Count is connected to the Emperor, so
yeah, he's got friends.
They're all afraid of him. Everyone's afraid of him.
He's got friends in high places.
And he chastises the group for going around burning pretty girls.
Which every girl that they do burn in this film is not only young, but beautiful.
Yes, they are. Blondes and brunettes alike, Karen.
Yes, but lovely ladies. Well, they didn't get there.
Then Gustav points his flintlock at Karnstein. And an African-American man steps in front of the gun. Karnstein says, go ahead and shoot. The Emperor will hang you for it. But Gustav, he relents.
Thinks better of it, yes. They start to ride away.
As they're riding away, they ride by a cemetery and they hear screams, Karen. So they stop. And they investigate through the Froggy's fog.
They also do hear wolves at this point.
A pale man, drained of blood, with bite marks on his neck, grab at Gustav's feet. And they say, the devil has struck again.
So the vampire is around. There is a vampire around. Well,
it's not one marks. That we know.
No, but there are bite marks on his neck. So
okay.
Yeah, it's a kind of an out there outlier. We don't know who's doing this killing.
So the Brotherhood, though, they ride out looking for the killer. And there's a girl walking down the road carrying a basket with flowers in it or something.
They just say a girl lives less than 2 kilometers from here. Must be her. And she's just walking down the road carrying flowers in the daylight.
Well, I think it's nighttime, but their filter wasn't strong enough.
No, their filter
make it
wasn't
look
strong
dark.
enough in 90% of this movie.
I knew it was supposed to be dark, but whatever. So they chase the girl down.
They run her down in the middle.
Well, they grab her. They don't run her down.
Yes. Well, they chase after her and run
pick
to
her, and they grab her and throw her up on the horse and take her to their burning tree and burn her.
Yeah. Tree that still stands. But they pray for her. So,
Absolutely. Then we see Gustav talking to his wife about the wickedness of the aristocracies in the country. He talks about how they get together and strip naked and dance around and fornicate or something like that. He didn't use it as exact words, but
he's appalled. So he's Puritan. So I wanted to know, because everything upsets him. So Puritans were members of a religious reform movement known as Puritanism that arose within the Church of England in the late 16th century. They believed the Church of England was too similar to the Roman Catholic Church and should eliminate ceremonies and practices not rooted in the Bible. There were 5 basic Puritan beliefs. There was a judgmental God who rewards good and punishes evil. Predestination, where salvation or damnation was predetermined by God. Which wasn't that in, what was the movie? The Addiction, where they were talking about all the philosophies where is your life predetermined?
Right.
Original sin, meaning that humans are innately sinful, tainted by the sins of Adam and Eve. And good can be accomplished only through hard work and self-discipline. They believe in God's grace and providence, which I think is a benevolent God, but doesn't sound like a benevolent God in any of these Puritan movies that we've seen.
Nope.
But that's the last witch they burn in the movie, correct?
No, there's one more. I think there's another one.
Well, I did look up the last witch burned in the United States was in 1878, Lucretia Brown, which is late. The witch trials were in the 1600s. The last Austrian witch burned, because that's where this supposedly is taking place, was in 1750. And then I did look up the last person executed as a witch in Europe, but she was beheaded in 1782, Anna Goldie. So, this movie takes place right in the height of all of it.
So as Gustav is talking about all this wickedness going on with the aristocracies, Frieda is listening and she seems very interested.
Yes, she does. And you must have really liked these nightgowns because they were paper thin.
Yeah, pretty thin. Frieda looks out the window to Castle Karnstein in her sheer nightgown. She wants to meet the Count. And we cut to the castle, Karen. And there's a naked girl on the altar. We see 2 bare breasts. And
Another
a little
beautiful
more.
woman. Yeah.
And they're talking in some foreign language, Karen. Is that Latin?
Yeah, it's Latin.
I recognize that satana word or whatever it was again. So apparently they're praying to Satan or something, chanting. I don't know.
Or pretending to. It seems to be entertainment.
Yeah.
But Karnstein is bored.
Yeah,
and
he's not happy.
He looks like a cross between David Cassidy and what was the guy that was in the Roger Corman movie that hosted the TV shows later?
Bert Convy.
Yes. He looks like Bert Convy and David Cassidy meshed together.
You know who he looks like to me?
Who?
Karen, to me, he looks like Jimmy Fallon.
Really?
Oh, dead on him. Like they could be brothers.
With poofy hair. Yeah.
Yeah, looks just like him, I think. It was distracting to me, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't, like I said, he just didn't do it for me. But
he is not happy with the girl Dietrich, one of his other servants apparently has found.
Well, he's just bored. I guess Dietrich just does this all the time. Buys a peasant girl for a couple gold coins, brings her in, she gets naked. I guess he wants something more, Greg.
Yeah. He tells Dietrich that there are twins staying with Gustav.
And he said, now that
would be something different.
Yes, and exciting. Exactly.
And then as they appear, they're about to sacrifice the girl. Karnstein stops them. He calls them charlatans. He thinks they're a bunch of fakers. They all leave. Karnstein picks up the dagger and he prays to the Lord of Darkness, Karen. He offers the girl as a sacrifice and he stabs her. And her blood runs down to a crypt below? I wrote.
It was weird. But he's tired. He's weary of the world and its pathetic pleasures. Give me your power to do your evil and take away my faith. I offer you this woman. And he kills her and she dies immediately. And the overly liquidated blood starts to drip down. I couldn't figure out where. Because I wrote, where is it dripping?
I couldn't either. It's either inside the altar she is on or it's underneath on the floor below.
Right. Because she's on something that almost looks like sort of a crypt.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's lightning, Karen, and the wind blows out the candles. And a body manifests from the crypt and rises, shrouded.
Yes. Through the fog, yes. But right next to the dead girl.
It advances towards Karnstein.
And he's afraid, which was weird because this is exactly what he wanted, but he acted afraid.
But then we see a female hand touch his face and then he was, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Everything's fine now.
All righty.
And the person pulls back their hood and it is Markala.
Who we've met before.
Yes. Originally played by Ingrid Pitt in The Vampire Lovers. They asked her to do this movie, but she declined. Maybe because there's not much for her to do.
No.
But maybe there would have been more if she would have done it. I don't know. Because basically Markala is just in this one scene, right?
But Karnstein says, did he send you? And she says, yes. And he's like, do I have to die? She's like, no, he just wants your soul. Just your soul. You'll be the undead from now on.
Yes, and while that is happening, Frieda is at the window watching the lightning, and she thinks it is beautiful.
Yes, and Markala and Karnstein kissy face.
Yes, they do, Karen. And she strokes a candle, Karen.
She has an intimate moment with a candle.
And then we see a bust in the foreground as the camera pans, and the inscription on it says, Countess Markala Karnstein died 1547. Then she bites Karnstein. He turns to look in a mirror.
First she shows him that he can't see her in the mirror. And he says, I can't see you. And she says, the mirror only sees the living. We walk the earth, but we only exist in hell. And she bites him. He seems to like it, though.
Does. Then he turns to look in the mirror and his reflection fades.
Yeah, this is a quick transformation.
And we see the girls with their aunt riding in a carriage. Hunters arrive hunting a boar, apparently.
Yeah, they have to stop and wait for the hunters to ride through.
But they kill the boar and Maria covers her ears at the sound of the squealing and from the boar.
It's Anton. This is foreshadowing. Anton throws his spear and nails the boar.
But Frieda looks very happy.
Frieda likes it.
Then their aunt takes them to the school.
The girls' arts and crafts school, apparently.
While they're there, Anton arrives from hunting, and he immediately seems very stricken by Frieda. Yes, all else is blurred except for her.
Yes, everything in the room is blurred and the light is shining. Oh, it's Frieda. So he can tell them apart. And it's mentioned multiple times in this movie that no one can tell them apart. But Anton knows Frieda right away. And all the girls are all flutter over Anton.
I can tell them apart. But then Frieda accuses him of hunting witches as they're talking.
Well, they flirt about hunting.
Yes, they do. But Anton says he will have no part of that.
Yes, and
hunting.
he says, your uncle's a good man. And then Frieda says, well, I don't like good men. And then Maria's asking about history.
Yes.
And Anton's sister calls him over.
And Anton begins telling Maria all about the history of Karnstein, which is the town, right? As well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Frieda goes out to watch as the Count arrives in town.
She sees him through the window and then immediately goes outside.
Then Gustav arrives and tells Frieda to go back in the school, and he warns Count Karnstein about talking to her.
She's leaning over,
Yes,
displaying her goods.
Next, we see the girls in their nightgowns again, Karen. Frieda is planning on sneaking out. She wants to go see the Count. Maria tries to convince her not to go, but Frieda threatens her that she better keep quiet and cover for her, or else you know Frieda, what I will do.
Yes, Frieda does not want to be the good girl.
Next, we see Frieda walking through the woods.
It's supposed to be dark, I think, right? But it's daytime.
Yes, it is. And Karnstein's servant, the African-American man, picks her up and puts her in her coach and takes her away to Castle Karnstein.
But she goes willingly. She's not upset.
We cut to Castle Karnstein, and they're all having dinner, and the Count makes a toast to Satan.
Yeah, but only Frieda joins him. There's two other people at the table.
Goethe and Dietrich.
I don't know where Goethe came from, but Dietrich.
Goethe's the girl from the cabin that they wanted to go burn.
Oh, okay.
She's the peasant girl that was kissy facing with Count.
Well, no wonder she's not happy.
And Dietrich says that his girlfriend is missing, and the girl's parents blame him, and they have threatened to go to the authorities. Karnstein tells him he better not let that shit happen. Tells him to pay them off. Karnstein asks Goethe what she thinks of Frieda.
Isn't she beautiful?
She says, she's all right.
All right.
And I think the Count says, what a terrible thing to say or something.
He's not impressed. No. She needs to be taught a lesson. She's not being kind enough.
Yeah, she needs to be punished. And Karnstein turns to Frieda and says, don't you agree? And she says, yes.
They're going to punish her together.
That's right. And Goethe's afraid, and she tries to escape and runs away, but the servant guy's there to grab her. Next, we see Goethe chained to a wall, Karen. And then Karnstein reveals himself to Frieda as a member of the undead as they look in the mirror.
He does say, you are very beautiful. All your pleasures should be supreme. And one supreme pleasure is to take a human life.
And Karnstein bites Frieda. And Maria also acts as though she feels the injury back at the cottage. Frieda turns into a vampire, and she bites Goethe on the breast, Karen.
They almost look like they're going to kiss.
Yes, they do.
But no, just a breast bite.
Next, we see the Brotherhood burning another witch, Karen. And this girl looks like the same girl from the credits.
Yeah, they found another girl, and they're all praying. I will say, I hated these people. these Puritans, and especially Gustav. I kept calling them assholes through the whole thing.
But we cut to the school next, and I believe Anton and Ingrid, his sister, are talking. And Anton is not happy about the young girls who have been burned at the stake. He says he wants to stand up to Gustav and the Brotherhood. And then Ingrid calls him out for his affection for Frieda. She says it's obvious.
Yes, he does say he's upset with himself because he's such a coward, that he hasn't done anything to stop these, what he calls superstitious burnings, because he's university educated. They make him out to be a smarty pants. But yes, his sister Ingrid does point out that everybody saw that he really likes Frieda. And she says, well, why do you like her? Maria's the nice one. But he didn't like the nice one.
Yeah, he says that Maria probably is much nicer than Frieda, but Frieda has something burning inside her, Karen.
And he feels it when he's near her. And you'd spend your life learning new things about Frieda, whereas Maria's an open book. Ingrid says, if you want to court Frieda, you can't piss off Gustav, which he was talking about doing something, but he would have to go against her uncle. So if he's going to try to court the niece, he can't do that. But he says somebody's got to do something.
Next, we see Frieda sneaking back into the house as Gustav and the Brotherhood are returning.
Just in time.
Yeah, Maria tells Frieda that Gustav knew she was gone, but Maria took her place. So she was beaten with his belt because of it.
Yeah, so she pretended to be Frieda and wouldn't say where Maria was. So She said, I'm getting the belt. I got the belt today because I wouldn't say where Maria was. And then I'm going to get the belt tomorrow because I'm going to get it for not being back by dusk.
Right.
And she says, you should pretend to be me tomorrow and take the whipping. But I don't think Frieda's going to do that.
I don't think she is either. Got back to the school. Next day, apparently, Anton is composing music on his harpsichord, Karen.
Yes, he is.
All the girls leave and Gustav enters. Anton apparently sent a letter to the church leadership complaining about Gustav and the Brotherhood. And the leaders of the church have asked Gustav to investigate Anton to see if he is a servant of the devil, Karen.
Yeah, that's where I said it's good to be in charge. It's good to have power because someone speaks up against you and, nothing happens. They just say, well, he obviously is a servant of the devil if he's speaking against me.
Anton tells Gustav that if vampires, they talk about vampires and
they talk about a lot of things. First, Gustav says, screaming kind of, do you not believe in the existence of the devil? And Anton says, I believe that wickedness exists in every man. Anton doesn't believe that God is cruel and vengeful. And that's when Gustav says, well, burning purifies. And then Anton comes back with, not if you know anything about vampires. Which is weird because burning is one of the ways we know to kill vampires. So I wonder why this film, but in The Brides of Dracula, which is a Hammer film, correct? He burns in the windmill. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
It was strange to change mythology.
I thought the windmill formed a cross and then that.
Oh yeah, it did. But
made him smoke.
But I always thought, that burning did kill vampires.
Yeah, I don't know. Water does.
I looked it up and it says that's one way to do it.
Okay.
But not in this movie.
Not in this movie.
So Anton and Gustav are going at it. And then Anton starts to talk about why it doesn't work to burn a vampire.
Anton says, if vampires exist, the only way they can be killed is by a stake through the heart or decapitation. Then Gustav threatens Anton never to interfere with the workings of the Brotherhood again.
Or he will suffer.
Next, we see Anton singing his song for Ingrid.
Well, wait. As Gustav leaves, he says, be careful with your sister or something. Basically, he threatens his sister before he walks out the door. Greg and I are both so excited that you're listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, and we would love to hear from you. Do you have a movie suggestion for us? Or possibly a favorite drink you'd like us to try? Or maybe you just want to say hi. If so, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show.
Then we see Anton singing his song for Ingrid, his sister.
He said singing his horrible, embarrassing song.
And he is sending Ingrid away to deal with a sick relative or something, right?
Yes, to get her away from Gustav.
Cut back to the girls in their sheer nightgowns, talking about Anton. Maria fears that Gustav may hurt Anton.
Because he has a grudge against him.
And she asks Frieda not to go out that night. But Frieda is afraid that if she stays, she will bite Maria. Did you catch that?
Yes.
Okay. Next we see
she
Frieda.
Doesn't say that. She just says,
she doesn't.
I
You can
can't
tell.
stay.
Yeah.
You don't know what I might do. And then she
Right.
has to leave.
And we see Frieda in the woods, and she happens upon Dietrich. Dietrich appears to be inebriated. She lures Dietrich into a cave and bites him, and he falls into a stream or something. He gone.
Yeah, there's a waterfall in the cave, so he's thrown into the water.
Cut to Anton teaching the girls. They were supposed to study needlepoint, Karen, but he doesn't know anything about that, so they're going to have choir practice.
Yes, they are. They're going to sing his song.
Yes, well, they want to, Karen.
Of course they do.
Then Gustav busts into the classroom.
He's good at busting in.
Yep. And he brings a body in. The Brotherhood do. And it's Ingrid. And she has bite marks on her neck. The girls all shriek with horror, except for Frieda, who smiles.
We should also say that Anton is horrified when he sees his sister.
Well, you would.
Well, yeah, but
That
we
goes
didn't
without
mention
saying.
it. But, well, no, it doesn't. Because Frieda and Maria are sisters. So it doesn't go without saying that you'd be horrified.
And then we cut to Frieda in the woods again with lots of Froggy's fog. A member of the Brotherhood happens upon her and she bites him. He gone. He screams.
She's playing fast and loose here.
Yes. As we see, she thinks she, has protection. But he screams and the other members of the Brotherhood converge upon Frieda with their crosses. And she runs to the feet of her uncle and she pleads with her uncle to save her. She says that they were attacked by vampires. Gustav sees the blood on her lips. She tries to tell him, no, it's from the vampire. But he pulls a cross on her and her fangs are exposed. And Gustav says, the devil has sent me twins of evil. Take her to jail.
Of evil?
Evil.
There you go.
Back at the house.
Well, Joaquin, the African-American servant, sees this happen.
Back at the house, Gustav goes upstairs to beat Maria, but their aunt stops him. She says that she is sleeping with a cross clutched to her chest. And Aunt Caddy, I guess, asks if Frieda can be saved. Can she be exorcised? And Gustav says the Brotherhood will decide her fate.
He says he's tried to be a good man. And Aunt Caddy says, yeah, you've tried. So Aunt Caddy is standing up for herself a little bit here. She won't let him go upstairs and beat Maria. She's kind of telling him, you're a little out of control.
Yeah, she's not surprised that Frieda would turn to the dark side, Karen, but
no, she's not.
No, Maria would not. Then we see Maria talking in her sleep about Count Karnstein.
And Caddy hears this.
Yeah, she is up there. And then she leaves. And
again,
Karnstein enters.
They just leave these lovely girls alone all the time.
Well, the aunt's going to go tell Gustav that it's Karnstein.
Oh, about Karnstein, yeah.
But Karnstein goes to bite Maria, but she has a cross in her hand and it protects her.
Yes, so he's going to bite her, but she has the cross. Then she tosses and turns while he waits.
But we cut to the Brotherhood deciding the fate of Frieda. Then we cut back to Maria, restless in her sleep, and she drops the cross.
Well, the funny thing, when they go to the Brotherhood, Gustav isn't there, right? Immediately, and they're saying, what are they going to do? And the one guy's like, Gustav can't change just because, it's his niece and blah, blah, blah. And then Gustav walks in, and it's one of those moments where it's like, he's right behind me, isn't he? Because he is. He walks in right behind him. So the one guy's all fired up. We're going to burn her right now. And Gustav is trying to make him wait till the morning, but they won't let him. So
after Maria drops the cross, Karnstein grabs her and hands her out the window to his servant.
Yes. So he didn't bite her.
No, he didn't. Maybe he wasn't going to bite her.
It looked like he was, but maybe he wasn't. Yeah.
So basically the Brotherhood finds Frieda guilty and Gustav says then she must burn. That's just the way it is. No two ways about it. She's guilty.
Although he does seem a little more contemplative now that it's a relative.
So then we see Karnstein arrive at the jail, and he does his Dracula eyes on the jailer and hypnotizes
Yes, he
him.
does.
They carry Maria in and have her take Frieda's place. And they swap their clothes. But Karen, we don't see anything.
No, but there is a nice shadow work
Except
there.
a shadow silhouette. Yeah. We never see Maria's breast in this film. Well, there is one where she's kind of like a little nipple slip there when they're in
earlier.
bed. But
yeah.
So then the Brotherhood go to burn Frieda. Anton enters and tries to stop them.
We should just mention that Frieda is just fine with this situation.
Yeah.
Frieda has switched clothes with her sister. I'm good. She can burn. Leaves willingly.
Yeah.
No
I knew you would come for me.
Yeah. No hesitation at all. Nothing. Just, okay, let's burn Maria.
Got to do what you got to do.
So they're switched now.
Yes.
The old switcheroo.
Karnstein escapes with Frieda. Then we see Aunt Caddy at the meeting place of the Brotherhood, but they all gone, Karen. She tried to get there before they left, but they're gone. And the Brotherhood arrive at the jail. Next, we cut to Anton back at the house, and he's looking for Maria. He goes up to the girl's bedroom and thinks that Frieda is Maria. And
Yes.
Anton hugs her. And then Frieda, impersonating Maria, tries to hypnotize Anton. And we cut to the Brotherhood at the jail, taking Maria away to be burned.
Thinking it's Frieda.
Yes.
This is where it gets hard to make notes because they've switched. Because the Puritans think they have Frieda, but it's Maria, and Anton thinks it's Maria, but it's Frieda, and it's. But I thought he could tell them apart. But anyway, what happens back at the cottage?
So back at the cottage, Frieda says, "Wait." And she stands away from him and undoes her sheer nightgown, Karen, exposing her breasts. And then she and Anton kissy face.
And I said, I thought he could tell the difference between the two of them.
Then he sees in the reflection of the mirror that Frieda has no reflection. Then she bares her fangs at him and she attacks Anton. They struggle on the bed there.
I said, Frieda and her boobs are attacking Anton.
Anton falls kind of off the bed and grabs Maria across and throws it at Frieda. She catches it and it burns her hand, Karen. It burns. It burns.
Yes, it does.
And Anton hops on his horse and rides off to save Maria.
But did he think he was kissing Maria?
Well, he was hypnotized, Karen.
Oh, he was hypnotized. Okay, gotcha.
She pulled that, Dracula shit on him.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And then exposed her breast. What was he supposed to do?
He's just a man.
Then we see Maria about to be burned. Aunt Caddy arrives and tries to stop them. Tells them, no, you got the wrong girl. And Anton arrives and tells them they have the wrong girl. They're going to burn Maria. He tells them to hold a cross up to her and see if she flinches. Test her.
They do that at first. They do that every time, but no, apparently not.
They do, and she does not flinch. She actually says, oh, God. Oh, God.
She prays.
Yeah. So then Aunt Caddy tells them that Frieda is with Count Karnstein.
It's not Frieda's fault.
So then we see the Brotherhood, and they're talking about Karnstein. They don't know what to do. They're perplexed. They're afraid to burn him because the Emperor might retaliate. But Anton convinces them to go to the castle. And he tells them that burning Karnstein will do no good. They must stake him through the heart or cut off his head.
Yeah, he's whipping up the troops. He's getting them ready.
So then Gustav stops as they're all running out and asks Anton, is it true? Is it true the vampire's soul will be saved by staking through the heart and decapitation? Anton tells him that yes, if there is one spark of goodness in them, they will be saved and go to God.
So, not for you.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a spark there, I'm sure.
You think there's a spark? You think? Maybe with a little bit of flint, you get it going.
So next we see the Brotherhood sharpening their axes.
Yes, there's a montage.
Yes, and blades and stakes, whittling their stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And they head off to the castle as angry townsfolk follow. We got pitchforks and torches, Karen.
Yep.
Frieda is frightened as they see the crowd converge, but Count Karnstein tells her there is nothing to worry about. Burning will not harm them. They will just find new bodies and new victims. Fa la 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 la.
Yes, exactly. We'll just laugh and laugh.
But then Karnstein's servant comes in and warns them with his sign language that the Brotherhood have crosses and axes.
Apparently he's mute. I didn't know that. They have crosses and axes and stakes. He pantomimes everything.
Yes. Karnstein and Frieda try to make a run for it through the underground tunnels of the castle.
Yeah, it's not tra-la-la now.
No.
Karnstein's like, oh, shit. And he makes a run for it.
He tells the servant, no, you must stay and fight off the Brotherhood.
Yes. The servant's like, okay, I'll go. And nope, you got to stay and hold them off. He holds off, what, 2 or 3 of them?
Yep. The men attack, and the servant takes a couple of them out, burns one of them, and chops one of them in the head.
Burns an eyeball.
But the Brotherhood overwhelm him and stab him through the heart with a stake.
There's too many of them.
Egon, even though he's not a vampire, but, I guess it don't
they
hurt.
didn't know. They didn't know.
Dead is dead. Doesn't matter how you do it, I guess.
Practicing.
Then we see Karnstein and Frieda in the catacombs, is what I call it. As they exit the castle, Karnstein says, oh, hey, Frieda, you go on ahead. You go ahead first. I'll follow you. So, of course, she walks out there, and her uncle is there and grabs her by the hair and decapitates her.
Absolutely. Yep. So he sends her out first to see if she gets killed, which she does. Right. And then he slams the door.
Yeah, he runs back in and slams the door and locks it.
And her uncle is holding her head.
Yes. And he sets it down next to her body and covers the body with his cloak. He tells the Brotherhood to take her to the chapel.
Yes.
At this point, Maria has a pain in her neck, Karen.
Yes, she does.
She says she must find Frieda and runs off.
Something's wrong with Frieda. Something definitely is wrong with Frieda.
Yeah. Frieda didn't give a shit about you, though.
I know. I was going to let you burn, but...
whatever. Then Anton runs and tells their aunt that they must take Maria back to the village, that Frieda is dead. And
yes, because how is the mob going to know who Maria is and who Frieda is?
Well, that Frieda arrived with the mob.
Yes, but they look exactly the same.
She's wearing different clothes.
I suppose.
She's not wearing all blood red, Karen. Scarlet red dress, silk dress. And what'd you think of her scarlet shoes, Karen? Because what happens, Karen?
Maria finds a shoe.
Finds Frieda's shoe. Then Karnstein comes out and grabs her.
Nobody's waiting at the tunnel where the first vampire just came out. They all just leave. Mm-hmm. When you just have at least a guard there, somebody should stay there in case he comes out.
Or maybe take your axes and break down the door. Shit, maybe. I don't know.
Something like that. But anyway, he gets Maria.
He does. He pulls her into the castle and he locks the door so Anton cannot get in because he's arrived by now. Just a little late. So then the Brotherhood invade the castle and they begin searching it.
Which is a lovely set, by the way.
Typical Hammer. And Karnstein and Maria are in the catacombs. Anton tells the men that Karnstein has Maria. And then Karnstein appears on I call it a balcony, but it's
an upper staircase,
and he is holding Maria as if he is going to drop her. Then Anton goes to toss a spear at him, but one of the Brotherhood stops him and says, no, you might hit her, right? Basically. And then Gustav comes.
He's just about to bite her when Gustav comes.
Comes from behind.
Yep.
With an axe. And Karnstein shows his fangs. Gustav swings his axe at him, but misses. And Karnstein's taunting him, too.
Gustav says, I have waited a long time for this moment. Karnstein says, so have I. And then he basically says, you better not miss. Because if you miss, you're in trouble. And then what happens?
He misses.
He misses.
And Karnstein takes the axe and throws it at Gustav, hitting him in the back. And then
That was terrible.
He tosses Gustav off the balcony and he falls. He gone.
You could tell it was a plastic axe sewn into his jacket or something. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was not good.
Well, it's 1971, Karen. Yeah, the hitting the guy in the head with the hatchet or whatever it was better.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway.
And the burn was too at that moment.
Yeah, he gone. So then Karnstein goes to bite Maria. Anton throws his spear and hits him right in the chest or thereabouts. And he gone.
Just like the wild hog he got.
Anton rushes upstairs and grabs Maria. Karnstein decays quickly and turns to a rotten corpse. The Brotherhood circle around Gustav and pray. Anton and Maria embrace.
So Anton has to settle for the sister he didn't want. Now he wants her because the other one's gone.
Well, yeah. She could have been under his spell anyway, Karen.
He could have been under her spell, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Credits. The end. All right, Karen. What did you really enjoy or were pleasantly surprised by in this Hammer classic from 1971?
I thought Peter Cushing was excellent.
As always.
I really hated him, which is exactly what I was supposed to do. It's a woman in the woods by herself. We must burn her. So, as always, the sets were amazing. This might be my favorite Hammer film we've watched so far.
Really?
I just thought I liked the story, the characters it was a little black and white with Maria and Frieda, but, it was interesting that Maria was trying to do all the good girl stuff and Frieda was going to let her burn and how different they were. I thought that was pretty well done. Sets, like I said, costumes were good. We'll get to that. But yeah, I liked it. I liked this film, actually. What did you like about it?
All the same things, Karen. That's what I had. I had Peter Cushing, sets, costumes. The gowns were beautiful, Karen.
Did you like the story?
How they accentuated the natural beauty of the twins.
Literally.
Story was fine. I agree it was a little too black and white with Maria and Frieda, but
who would you have chosen, Greg?
It's believable.
Maria or Frieda?
I think Maria is the cuter of the two, actually.
So you only go by looks then? Would you want the devil worshipping sister or the goody two shoes? I mean,
Which one looks better?
So it's totally by looks.
I don't know. But we talked about earlier, I said I was going to come back to something.
Yes.
So the one who played Maria was Mary, and the one who played Frieda was Madeleine or whatever. Of course, they grew up together. They're twins, right? But they went to different schools. Okay.
High schools, colleges. What are you talking about?
College.
University. Okay.
So they were educated in different places. So the Mary who plays Maria went to like a community common college or whatever, right? Just a regular school. But Madeleine, who plays Frieda, went to school at a convent.
Really?
Yeah. She's the one that plays the evil one. Which I thought was interesting. I mean, it's just interesting side note, right?
Yeah.
That the evil one is the one that went to a convent. Anything you didn't like about it, Karen?
Well, I wasn't really taken with the Karnstein, the vampire.
You look like Jimmy Fallon.
Didn't do it for me. And the whole
it would have been better if Christopher Lee and he talked, I think. But
yeah, but I think there was too much dialogue for Christopher Lee. He never speaks that much.
Well, just because he didn't want to. I mean, he speaks that much in other films.
Yes, but not in these.
Right.
A lot of the shots were supposed to be at night, and it was obviously daytime. I mean, sun shining through the tree.
They had a bad filter.
That part wasn't good. The whole thing with the female vampire, that scene, I couldn't figure it out. You almost didn't need it. He could have
I don't even know why she's there.
He could have been a vampire to start, and they didn't need that to be in there at all.
They didn't. But this is part 3 of the Karnstein trilogy, right?
I see. Okay. But
So
still.
the first one we watched, which is Vampire Lovers with Ingrid Pitt as Carmela or whatever, right? And
Yes,
the second one is Lust for a Vampire, which we will get to, I'm sure, Karen.
of course.
And this is the third.
But it almost seemed like an afterthought.
It did. And I wonder if Ingrid Pitt would have agreed to do it if it would have been a more hashed out character, because she's just in that one scene and we never see her again.
She violates a candle and that's it.
That's it.
So I didn't get that.
She does get felt up though, too.
She does. I mean, she does turn him into a vampire, and that's kind of crucial to the story, but he could have been one to start.
He could have started, yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered. The blood is always disappointing in Hammer films.
I think the blood was okay.
It was better. It was better than we've seen, but it still wasn't good. So what about you? What did you not enjoy particularly?
Just what I said. I agree. I didn't think I would have liked to see Ingrid Pitt.
Well, you can't see Ingrid Pitt. So besides that.
As Carmela, it's her character.
Yeah, well, she didn't agree to it. So
I know.
I think it's one of the better Hammer films myself.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Or maybe it's because we haven't seen one in a while and we were starting to see a couple in a row and I was getting, they're not that good, but
it hasn't been that long, Karen, I don't think. All right, Karen, what kind of cocktail rating you want to give this film?
It's probably a 3.
Okay.
It's a 3. It's borderline. Could be a 4, but I don't think it's as bad as some of the 4s we've given.
No.
It's not as good as some of the 3s we've given.
The twins weren't great actors, right? But they were fine.
No, I think their sole purpose was to be good and evil. I don't think there was a lot of range.
And wear sheer nightgowns.
Well, yeah. But I think they were limited in their
writing
scope.
They weren't written
right
well.
and in their scope there's not a lot you can do. You either have to be pure or evil.
Yeah, they were the good angel and devil on my shoulder.
If you were gonna pick some, those
if I was gonna pick, so I'm gonna pick my angel and my devil. They're it.
There you go.
All right, Karen, would you like to hear some reviews from the Times, Karen?
Ooh, the Critics' Corner. Absolutely.
Yeah. First one I have here is from August 10th, 1972. And it's from The Village Voice.
Oh, okay.
It says, the film's attention is divided between the female twins of the title, their uncle, a Puritan witch burner played by Peter Cushing, the evil Count Vampire in residence, and the school teacher hero. One of the film's main concerns is the innocent child who comes to sudden knowledge of evil and is threatened with destruction because of that knowledge. Twins of Evil loses its center and therefore its nightmarish force. The school teacher is frankly disinterested in the good twin he is required to save, and so is the viewer. The picture is a victim of the rating system, unjustly and somewhat inexplicably sporting an R rating.
There was quite a bit of nudity in there, though.
There was. But at the time it was released in the States, a lot of that shit had been cut out.
Oh, okay.
But the video we see now apparently is the original UK cut, which has all the good stuff left in it, Karen.
I do agree that the evil sister was much more interesting.
As is typical, Karen.
In an evil way, but still more compelling.
The bad guys are always more interesting, Karen. They're more fun.
Danger, danger.
I'd rather laugh with the sinners than cry with the saints. The sinners are much more fun, Karen.
Okay, Billy.
All right. Next one I have, Karen, another review from the New York Times from July 14th, 1972. Credit the Hammer movie teams for providing variations on standard horror themes that should send geneticists, if not the paying customers, scurrying off to psychiatrists' couches. Comely twin sisters are turned into vampires by that scion of long line of old middle Karupas undead. Midal Karupas? I don't know. Another word I don't know. New York Times is way over my fucking head, apparently, Karen.
It's very erudite, this review.
Count Karnstein, which probably is a first for cinema. So I guess they're saying that's good, that it's a, I don't know, different thing. Let's say that Mary and Madeleine Collinson, the actual identical twin actresses of Twin of Evil, are nobly endowed enough to keep any red-blooded boy interested in vampirism.
Exactly. The twins have nice twins.
The rest of the costumed crew, led by that veteran horror hand, Peter Cushing, as the twins' witch-hunting uncle who chased the fanged count and his retoon. Another word I don't know, Karen. Hardly give Twins of Evil a good name.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay,
I mean, there's more, but it's more. See, this was released as a double feature. So both of these reviews are actually reviewing the double feature of Twins of Evil and Hands of the Ripper.
Oh, okay.
So it goes on to talk about Hands of the Ripper.
As we'd like to say, I think this, if you know Hammer films, this is going to give you exactly what you're expecting, with a little bit of a twist of, I think, a little bit more well, there's not character development exactly, but I'd say there's a little bit more of a story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not just the good guy going to kill.
Yeah, it's not
the
Peter
vampire.
Cushing chasing vampires.
Yes. I mean, he is, but it's a different twist on it. So
it's
I
not
think
Van
that's
Helsing chasing vampires.
Yes. And it's not just those two going at it. There's some witch burning in there, and his character is flawed, which is not usual for Peter Cushing's vampire hunting character. He usually has everything on his side. He's the good guy. And when he almost burns the wrong sister, there's a flaw there that he has to step back and say, well, wait a minute, maybe we're going at this a little bit too hard.
I couldn't have been wrong before, could I?
Right. So
is it possible I have burned innocent young ladies?
I mean, he believed he was doing good deeds, purifying their souls and things, but it does make him stop and think. So he's flawed, which is unusual. The vampire is also flawed, thinking he's invincible, and he's not. Although he's a baby vampire, he's only been a vampire for 2 days before he bites it or something. So literally, but it had some twists that were make it a little bit better. I enjoy the other films, the vampire films and things, but this one was just a little more involved. So I enjoyed that part of it.
We'll see how lust for a vampire is, Karen, when we get to it, which is part 2. Should have done them in sequence, but I didn't, because it's the twins' birthday.
Well, you got to do what you got to do, Greg.
All right, Karen, what do you think of the drink?
It's good. I like rum.
Left.
I like rum and Coke. So, I would use less lime than I used, but it'll get you there.
There's a lot of lime.
Yeah. Even with a little lime, there's a lot of lime. So, and I like lime Coke. Remember when they used to have that? I don't know if they still make
Karen,
that.
I do not.
I used to drink that.
Must have been, before my time.
No, it was like 15 years ago or something. You could get lime Coke. And you can get it at the movie theaters in those machines where you can add whatever you want.
I'm not one for mixing my drinks like that, Karen.
But I like lime Coke. It's good. I like it.
It's fine.
I would like it as a regular rum and Coke. It's a little intense for me, but
Do you like the spiced rum and the white rum?
I do. I like spiced rum.
I do too.
Didn't know that before we started this. I prefer the spiced rum.
I'm glad I could teach you something, Karen.
Oh, you've taught me so many things, Greg. Don't underestimate yourself.
Okay. Anything we learned today, Karen? I think you talked about lots of things. A few things.
We talked about Puritanism, what they believed in, what they wore. We learned that black was expensive, which would have been horrible for me.
Me as well, Karen.
So that would have sucked. We learned, what is it? Styria is a real place.
Styria.
Styria is a real place. We learned about when the last witches were burned in lots of different places. That just always depresses me. Anytime these movies have the burnings,
Well, it's history.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying
Never forget, Karen. Never forget.
Just old women trying to live out their days in the little cottage in the wood. Let us be, man. Let us be.
Well, they're not old women. They're young girls.
Well, in this movie, they weren't, but in
young, beautiful girls.
In actual trials, it was mostly older women who couldn't defend themselves. They had no one to protect them, so they just took them out.
All right. Next movie, Karen. I believe it is your film.
It is.
Episode 119.
Comes out
August the 2nd.
Okay.
What film have you chosen, Karen?
I have chosen the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
It was released in August in England. Didn't come out in the United States until September, but we're going with the early release.
Okay. Will this be our first musical, Karen?
Possibly.
Okay. So you chose it because it came out in August?
Yes.
All right.
1975.
Kiss Alive came out in 1975, Karen. The album that sent me in a deep, dark hole. All right. It was my entry drug, Karen. All right,
I'm
Karen.
sure that pulled in a lot of young men at that time.
Do you have a drink or a cocktail for us?
I do. It's called the Time Warp. There are a lot of them out there, but the one I've chosen has 2/3 ounce of Midori, 1/2 ounce of Malibu rum, 1/2 ounce of pineapple juice, 1/4 ounce of blue curacao, 1/4 ounce of raspberry liqueur, and 2 cherries. You shake Midori, Malibu rum, pineapple juice, and ice, and then strain it into a 5-ounce cocktail glass or martini glass. Add raspberry cordial and blue curacao and garnish with the cherries. Serve and enjoy. Try this one and see if you can keep track of time, it says.
Okay, that'll be fun.
Haven't seen it in a long time. I've only seen it like twice. I wasn't one of those people that went to the midnight. I wasn't old enough to go to the midnight things.
I've never gone to the thing.
And then they stopped them for a while, and then they brought him back. It seems like Jamie would.
My wife, Jamie, yes.
Yeah. I would have too. I just never did it.
All right. Awesome. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
I'd like to thank our listener. There's a lot of podcasts out there. Thank you for spending time with us. Who would you like to thank, Greg?
Karen, I'm going to once again thank the band Verse 13 for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
The music definitely makes the podcast better.
It does. And if anyone has any suggestions for a film they'd like us to do, put it in the comments, wherever you found this, or on our social medias, anywhere at all. We'll find it. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Hey, it's Karen, and I'm here to talk to you about getting social with us. Did you know you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast? Or check out our website, scaryspirits.com. If you have something to say, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. And as always, thanks so much for listening. Please drink responsibly.